might be in the next couple of days.
Okay, let's say a very good morning to Spurs podcaster Ricky Sachs. Ricky, morning.
Good morning, Ricky.
Good morning, chaps. How are you both?
Well, Ricky, we're okay at the moment, but after last night, the Arsenal at the Bernabeu, and then we go to Spurs. It's like, you know what's coming. You think,
Boy, we might have to emigrate by the end of this week. I tell you, I can already foresee what's coming. I don't think it'll be pretty either. I'm really worried about the way this week comes to an end, and even the start of next week when Nuno rolls into town. I mean, this has got a lot of bad vibes written all over it. I honestly, guys, you know what? I can't quite believe when I come on here to speak to you chaps, or just in general when I talk about Tottenham anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know who this football club is. I honestly don't know where this football club is going, what it's doing, what this ownership is taking it to in terms of new levels. And look, we've got a massive, massive game tonight in terms of what it would mean for the season and what it would mean for Ange Postecoglou's future. But it just feels there's a lot more bigger problems behind the scenes at Spurs, which, to be fair, Gabs, I think, has kind of alluded to there. It's a big, big night for more reasons than just one, but we know with Spurs there's a lot of issues behind the scenes for sure.
And I've got so many friends that are going over there to Germany. They're
cool. Fans go no matter what, don't they, Ricky? But Ricky,
listen, the fans, you know what, the fans, and everyone's biased about their own fan base, right? Like, yes. I've always said Tottenham, for me, we've got the best fan base for me in the world in terms of patience and what we've had to go through. You know, we're nearly approaching near on 20-year drought without a trophy, a club that, as you know, Al, through your Spurs connections and links, of course, of being associated with Tottenham, we were, for me, a club growing up that were winning trophies. My dad took me to Spurs when I was younger, and you know, we were a cup team. But we're far from that under this current ownership, and we're only going one way at the moment.
Ricky, you know, for me as well. I went in the away end at PSG last week, and I've seen the fans' reactions when we scored and then when we conceded 3 goals. And I'm looking at Spurs and 17 defeats this season. I'm just thinking of the fans that are in the stadiums and what they're going through, the emotions. Wow.
The stats are damning. 21 overall, 17 in the league, 10 away defeats out of a possible 16. You know, I think when it comes to just on the football side and you look at the manager, and look, I like Postecoglou as a person, but as a manager, I just don't think he's had the credentials good enough to be able to manage this football club tactically, under pressure when it comes to the media, which you guys have touched upon on a number of occasions. Look, I think he's a really, really nice chap, but I think a club of Tottenham size and what we've tried to do as a club, I just don't think he's up to the level. And look, I've got to be honest with you, and I know you said this on numerous occasions on talkSPORT, but when you consider they sacked Pochettino 5 months after a Champions League final, they sacked Jose Mourinho 5 days before a Carabao Cup final, they sacked Conte sitting in 3rd. It's incredulous to think how Ange Postecoglou is still in position as the Spurs head coach.
So if he goes, Ricky, are we talking about Poch, or do you think Daniel's given up on that and he'll go for someone new? Like it?
Well, I think the difficulty with Pochettino is that he's very much kind of twerking his way that he'd love to come back to Tottenham, but I think the problem is that this contract that he's got with the US means it's very, very difficult to get him out of there before the World Cup. And I think that is where there's a difficulty there to make that happen. You know, I think there'd have to be a lot of difficult conversations to be had from both Pochettino's side and Tottenham's side to make that happen. But it does sound like that at the moment. Iriola's more closer to committing his future towards Bournemouth, and I think that means you've got a very small pool of candidates to choose from. We don't disrespect when I say you've probably got the likes of Marco Silva on there, Thomas Frank, Oliver Glasner. I think the reality is, guys, is what we're seeing under Enoch's tenure at Tottenham, that the longer we keep on sacking managers and we go through managers, that quality of candidate pool is coming further and further smaller, and the volume of candidates are getting less and less and less. And look, don't get me wrong, I think, as I've said, Postecoglou for me is not the right man to take Tottenham forward. It's not all on him. I think he's had a difficult season with regards to injuries, which you can't get away from. We had, 14, 15 senior players out at one point.
All I can tell you is I don't know the intricacies of getting out of that USA contract, but if he's offered the job, Poch would be there tomorrow.
Of course. I think, look,
guaranteed.
You know that, I know that. You know, I think everyone widely that's got any links towards Maurizio or Tottenham in general would know that Pochettino would love to come back to the football club. And he wanted to come back, as we know, a couple of summers ago before he joined Chelsea. This wasn't a case of...
He still lives here, by the way. He still lives in Hertfordshire.
He's still got his place.
Hertfordshire.
The training ground.
Ricky, you know, quickly, what scares me as well for Spurs is that Frankfurt, They've only lost 2 of the last 24 Europa League games. They averaged 2 goals per home in the Europa League over the years. I just fear for Spurs tonight, mate.
Look, I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. I'm quite a positive person outside of my life supporting the football club.
Yeah.
When I enter the realms of talking Spurs, I don't see anything to give me any optimism. This is going to get better anytime soon. Again, I will re-emphasise the point. It's not all on Ange Postecoglou. When you look at the ownership model at Tottenham, that needs to change now. I think, change for Spurs are doing significant work behind the scenes to try and help force a change of owner. And I think where we are, guys, is we're in the dark days of where Newcastle were under Mike Ashley, where we're simply merely existing, but drifting, and we're now waiting for somebody to come in and save the football club. But look, hopefully tonight, I hope we can see a performance where everybody pulls together, see Spurs get into a semi-final, we win the competition. But when it comes to Ange, I think it's a real shame that this hasn't worked out. And unfortunately, I think for him, he knows it too. If you're watching any of these interviews, Ange knows that it's done.
Yeah.
And it's a real shame.
Ricky, listen, fingers crossed tonight. I'll be watching, so let's hope so. We need a bit of cheer, that's for sure. Ricky, thank you.
Top man, Ricky.
Pleasure, guys. Thank you so much.
Cheers, mate.
The problem